And I just want to make clear why this matters so much. Hillary Clinton, back in the era when Bill Clinton was president, in that era, the term was coined, the idea became standard conversation in the political world. Can't we just move on? MoveOn.org was created in the Bill Clinton presidency era to try to make the argument the moment that wrongdoing was uncovered by Hillary, that Hillary Clinton engaged in wrongdoing, or Bill did, and it became evident, became known to the public, the very next day, the media, the Democrats, every Democrat in the country who had a microphone in front of them was saying, can we just move on? We've been over this. We've been talking about it. We've known. I mean, it could be like the next day, like we just discovered what Hillary did with the FBI files, or we just discovered the travel gate, whatever it was. The immediate answer was, can we just move on? It was a very intentional, nefarious, manipulative thing to do. The point was to tell Americans that, to imply that we've discussed this, the facts are out there, and all that's happening now is harassing people and repeating things and let's just move on. Well, I have to tell you, on our side, on the conservative side of the aisle, there are people who have the view that once the vote happens tomorrow in the Senate, once there's a vote to acquit the president, and again, if there's not 2/3 to remove, it's a vote of acquittal. Once that happens, some Republicans, cautious, tentative, are saying, can we just move on? Can we just please drop this? Can we just be over this? We can't talk about this anymore. And that could not be a worse decision. There could not be a worse outcome, a worse conclusion for Republicans to make that would essentially say, thank goodness we got through the impeachment. He didn't get removed. Okay, let's drop all this. We cannot do that. I will tell you, last night I had the great opportunity to be here in Dallas in a very small group, about 20 people, with Congressman Devin Nunes, who is, you may know, is among the heroes of the entire U.S. House, Congressman from California, among the small cadre of Republicans in the House who actually stood strong with President Trump, who demanded truth. He wasn't necessarily, I don't want to say stood strong with President Trump. He stood strong with the idea of, you must get to the truth. We don't sweep anything under the rug because Democrats don't want to talk about it. Truth matters. It matters what happened inside the FBI and the DOJ when they cooked up this preposterous Russia hoax and used the elements of power they had at their hands in the FBI and the DOJ to go after the president, to try to destroy his presidency, to get unjustified FISA court warrants, to spy on his team. Devin Nunes has been among the people who's been vilified almost more than anyone else in the U.S. House, probably more than anyone else in the U.S. House, for his tenacity and commitment to the idea, you must pursue and get to the truth. And that's what he was saying last night in this small group. He was saying that he is not going to stop his quest to get to the bottom of what happened. How is it that you had members, people paid by your tax dollars, employed by the FBI and the DOJ and the CIA, and maybe even the NSA and the National Security Council, all of those people involved in an ongoing coup attempt against the president? And that's what this was. That's what the Russia collusion hoax was. That's what this Ukrainian hoax was. It is an ongoing coup attempt, an attempt by people inside the government to overthrow the duly elected president. And I have to tell you, at least what I was hearing last night from Congressman Nunes, the Republicans are not going to let it drop. At least he is not, and others in power are saying, no, you have to get to the bottom of it. You have to understand all that happened, who is involved, what possible crimes they may have committed. That has to be weeded out. It has to be given the sunlight of truth in the daytime. It has to have people charged if they deserve to be charged for crimes. You have to bring it to the public's attention. So I wanted to say so I think that's very heartening, very enlightening, and I'm very grateful for people like him, because talk about someone who's taken slings and arrows. I'll tell you other little quick tidbits in wrapping up where I'm saying there's this whole notion about the idea that on the GOP side there must be and there is a quest for truth. To start with, on the Senate side, Lindsey Graham, sometimes solid, sometimes shaky, but Lindsey Graham has announced the Senate Intelligence Committee is going to hold a hearing and is going to call the Ukrainian whistleblower, who everyone's still pretending no one knows his name. I've said it in my show many times. It's been all over the media, but somehow people in Washington keep saying, in fact, I think recently Adam Schiff said he didn't even know who it was. Anyway, so Lindsey Graham, they're going to call the whistleblower and get at the bottom, not just, not to ask him, what did you hear? What did you think you heard? Who'd you cook it up with? Who'd you meet? Who'd you talk to? Who'd you run it by? Who in the NSC said it was okay? Who in Adam Schiff's team did you talk with? Every single question will be asked under penalty of perjury, and it's about dang time. Next, you also have kind of an amazing thing. Rand Paul, in an interview on Fox with Neil Cavuto, actually said, this is Rand Paul. Now, he's not a wild out there making accusations that have no basis in reality like Maxine Waters or some people on the left. This is a very wise, circumspect guy. Senator Rand Paul made a statement on Neil Cavuto. He said he's aware of six members of the NSC, National Security Council, and Adam Schiff staff who appear to have coordinated their efforts to create the impeachment hoax over a year ago. Please let that sink in. Rand Paul would not say this if it was a wild rumor he heard in the cloakroom or overheard someone whispering. When he's willing to say on national television, on Fox News and Neil Cavuto, he believes, and this is President Trump's own national security team, to be clear, not, the Obama era people who were also a problem, but his team, NSC team, and Adam Schiff staff, who appear to have coordinated the entire collusion, the entire hoax leading to the effort to impeach the president. That is a massive thing, must be looked into. Last point on this, even on in the House side, the GOP is now, the Senate side, the GOP is making inquiry of the National Archives in the process of reviewing thousands of documents related to meetings between the Obama administration senior officials and Ukrainian officials at the White House in 2016. So the Senate, even Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, and Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, those two being Ron Johnson, chair of the Committee on Homeland Security, Grassley, chairman of the Committee on Finance, they have now demanded documents from the National Archives related to meetings held at the White House 2016 between the Obama people and the Ukrainian people. To sum up this last segment, there are fighters on the GOP side, numerous different players who are saying we must fight to bring out the entire truth. We must pursue truth. And I got to tell you, folks, it may be that there are some Republicans caught up in any of these conspiracies and any of what has gone on in Washington in the last several years. I don't care. If there are Republicans involved, they need to be held to account, just like the Democrats, who were overwhelmingly the ones orchestrating this and conducting it, taking down this, just carrying out this effort at a coup to take down the president because they didn't like him. Do not buy into anyone's argument that somehow we gotta let it all go and move along. We must bring these people to justice, because if we don't, we leave it as historical precedent that you can engage in conduct at this nefarious level, and just because you have the cloak of protection of being employed by the FBI or the DOJ, that you're above the law, we are setting ourselves up for a very dangerous era in America, and an era inconsistent with our commitment of our founding to apply the rule of law to everyone.